And now, around the world and around the corner, it's the David Bowers Awards, bringing the best in indie music to millions of listeners worldwide with your host, the David Bowers. We've got a fantastic lineup of guests, as well as our engineer extraordinaire, Nick the Geek, our entire crew here at the Asylum, and me. I'm John Bon Jovial. And now, here's the voice of indie music, the David Bowers.
I certainly am, and thank you very much there, the legendary John Bon Jovial. And thank you, listeners, for joining us for another hour of music, merriment, and all kinds of happy stuff coming up. We've got some great guests for you. We have a returning guest from, been 3 years since Fitzsimon and Brogan were guests on the show. And we have a new guest who has never been here before. So he's also waiting in the green room. So we're going to try to keep this sane and civilized so we don't scare him away, or he won't be here today and he'll never come back again in the future. And we wouldn't want to scare anybody away. But we're happy to be here. We're happy you're here with us. We're happy that Randy is waiting for us, and we'll be getting to him in just a few minutes. But first, we have a new artist who is actually a new trap pop artist out of Germany who goes by the name of Flora Camille. And here's her tune, Shanghai Nights.
You wished I would have said this sooner. I'm not just another non-believer. Isn't it a perfect night to live? Yeah, lover. We used to set the world on fire. For you, I could have burned a desire, honey. I thought that you were just another delusion, but you know more than a memory. You're my only memory. Right now I need a remedy that makes me forget all that I had with you. It is not enough. I wish that we could go back. Our love is like war. It is easy to start, but so hard to finish. Yeah, I could have had it all with you, but I lost it. I fucked up this time and I never did. Don't want you to leave. Come stay with me and live longer. I have no idea what came over me. Once I was blind, but now I can see. I was drawn to the lights when I dreamed of Shanghai nights. Have you looked carefully? So do you see what I see? You know that I would do everything so that you don't have to feel the pain that I went through. Again and again, come closer. I need to be sure of the way I have the tendency to hallucinate. You're just a memory. You're my only memory. Right now I need a remedy that makes me forget all that I had with you. It is not enough. I wish that we could go back. Our love is like war. It is easy to start, but so hard to finish. I could have had it all with you, but I lost it. I fucked up this time and I know I did. Don't want you to leave. Come stay with me and live longer. I have no idea what came over me. Once I was blind, but now I can see. I was drawn to the lights when I dreamed of Shanghai. When I dreamed of Shanghai nights.
Flora Camille. And that's Shanghai Nights. She's, as I said, an emerging trap pop artist from Germany, and she's making quite some waves over in Europe with rather intoxicating music style. She calls her music an ethereal soundscape, which she samples with some oriental strings, bass trap beats, of course, topped off with some dreamy melodies, which kind of make for bewitching songs, kind of linger in your head and just sort of float around ethereally after you listen to her. Kind of a haunting romance, and she pairs this haunting music with a paradoxical lyric, lust for life, brooding thoughts about her own indecisiveness and waywardness, and you find her reminiscing about mystical fervor and the vivid delusion. She's fascinated by this idea of a multidimensional spirit who's supposedly living within each of us. And I think that's it's an interesting thought we could pursue some other time. Maybe we could get her on the show and she could discuss these thoughts that she has. But I do have to say that her explanation of her music does fit with the style of the music. It is ethereal. There is some oriental strings sampled in it. The melodies are rather dreamy, and the lyrics are definitely paradoxical, if nothing else. What say you, John Bon Jovial?
It is, it's the kind of music, it kind of reminds me of Enya a little bit. I can take small doses of it. I don't mind listening to something like that for maybe 5 or 10 minutes, but to be honest with you, and maybe it's just because I'm a dinosaur roaming the world, it's just not my cup of tea. But, I can see that those people that are into the ethereal kind of thing would probably kind of dig on it.
What I can see your comparison to Enya type of world music, and I think it's kind of that paired with a trap beat and some other ethereal injections. It's an interesting sound. I'd have to hear more of it. Hopefully, we'll get to hear more of her tracks. It's really hard to get a feel for someone's music off of 1 3-minute track, although we do every day. Listeners do it every time they hear a new artist. It's all of a sudden, I love this artist. It's the best artist I've ever heard. And they rush out to buy the first record or disc or download the first digital version, whatever. And that's how stars are made. But I think there's a place in the music world for this young lady. And I think her sound is something that is a good meld of exactly what you said, world and as well as the trap sound. And I don't know. I think there's a market for it. It's going to be interesting to see how she fares in that market and how she follows through after this. Look forward to hearing a little bit more from Flora Camille in the future. How other than you not being swept away emotionally by the previous sound that we just played, how are things in Bon Jovial land?
Well, here we are, as our regular listeners will know. You're in the Valley of the Sun in Tempe, Arizona, and I'm in Southwest Florida in Naples. And all I can say is that, while Florida may be an absolutely miserable place to be in the summertime because of the oppressive heat and humidity, I am so grateful that I am here right now and not in this large swath of the United States that is suffering from ice and snow and cold and icy roads and drivers that forget how to drive in the winter. And so, yes, life is really good in Florida right now. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't blame you, and I really extend my prayers and blessings to the people who are suffering through this unbelievable Arctic cold snap that swept all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico, from there back up to Canada again.
They call it a polar vortex, is what it's known as. A polar vortex.
It's really almost unprecedented in our lifetimes. I mean, it could have happened in centuries past, sure. But I know in our lifetime, we've never seen it to this extreme.
Well, I was watching the news this morning, and the overly exuberant local weatherman, this guy is so happy it's ridiculous. But
I know
this guy,
the weather people today, they even the news people are getting this.
Yeah, this guy was saying
exuberance.
that it doesn't happen very often, but in Dallas, it was colder in Dallas this morning than it was in Anchorage, Alaska. And you don't see that too often.
No, you don't. And you're absolutely right. I know I was comparing to my home sod back in upstate New York, and it was colder in Dallas than it was back up there, too. And to think this cold has gone all the way down to the Mexican border.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, way below Dallas, Fort Worth.
I can remember many years ago. I can remember would be back in the late 80s. And I went to an NAB convention, the National Association of Broadcasters convention that took place in Dallas that year, and it was the radio version of it, so it was in the winter in February, and they had just had an ice storm the day before we got there. And I used to live in Alaska, and I can tell you that those 2 or 3 days that I spent in Dallas was the coldest and most miserable I have ever been in my life, and I was so glad to get out of there.
I can well imagine, having lived up in the North Country myself. I can understand completely. So our best wishes and prayers to the folks who are suffering through this and the attendant problems that go with it, power outages, bad roads, accidents, all of that. We wish you nothing but the best. We're going to move on right now to our first guest, Randy Seedorff, who is patiently waiting for us. We're going to be talking to him right after we listen to this track of his called Fearless.